This one is from Ryan. Ryan says, I have a client in a legal adult entertainment service for men niche. I have to constantly be careful of Google business posts. Don't even use them. Constantly getting Web 2 accounts banned. I can imagine. Yeah. YouTube channel banned, even though there is no adult content on nudity. Backlinks are difficult. So I'm wondering what kind of strategies I should use. I was thinking about creating a city guide targeting men in order to drive traffic for the ideal customer, which are men visiting the city, because I can't just keep creating content about the niche because it won't generate enough organic traffic and the content is not acceptable in a lot of places where I need to push out content too. So I was thinking about generating content about nightlife in the city, restaurants in the city, activities for men in the city, and just create a massive guide to the city for men. Or maybe I should just post the content to the blog and don't worry about creating the city guide structure on the website. I don't know. That's a pretty good idea. I mean, I don't know how you prove that out without testing it, though, honestly. I mean, it seems like a pretty logical and a good idea, in my opinion. I would consider doing, I don't know. I mean, you could even do a directory, but like a city directory for men. You know what I mean? Like a particular city. I mean, I'm just using this as an example, but geo directory, which is what I use for my tree service directory, WP geo directory, just so you know, WP geo directory. You could probably do it with that. I don't know. I potentially you could do it with that and build kind of a, you know, you could have offers on there, so you could build an email list. Then you don't have to worry about publishing content and all that. You know what I mean? Like, because once you have a list, that's an asset that you can mail to. So that's totally different, right? You can do a lot more with an email list than you can in this particular type of an industry, is what I'm saying. So you might want to consider that, like, because you could do a directory, a men's guide or city guide for men, whatever directory, and then have different categories on the directory, right? Restaurants, nightlife, bars, breweries, craft breweries, you know, distilleries, that kind of cigar shops, all kind of shit that men like. You know what I mean? Sports activities in this city, that kind of thing. You could probably create a directory with all those different things, and that could bring, you could possibly use the directory to also monetize business listings, right? So you can use it to build your adult male related business, but at the same time, you could probably cross monetize it by selling premium listings and or advertising space. You could do list building. There's a number of things you could do with the directory site that's geared for men. Guys, niche, I talk about niche directories all the time. That's a niche directory. It's a niche directory for a particular city geared towards men, but it's a very niche directory, right? It's not maybe industry specific, but it's still a niche directory. So, you know, specialization, Matt, I mean, it works because there's always, not always, but there's usually people that are interested, are very passionate about whatever they're passionate about. And if you can tap into that, right, you can monetize it. So that's a pretty good idea, actually. I'm not going to do it. Pretty good idea, though, in my opinion. My second question is, it took me a year to gradually get to my top 5 for my main money keyword for this business. Then it went down to position 40 and has been stuck there. I can still rank from related secondary keywords, but the main keyword has been stuck for months on end at position number 40 or 40 plus. I recreated some of the web pages, still stuck. I think it's either 20 spammy backlinks that SEMrush says are toxic, or something, excuse me, to do with exact match keywords being the brand name. That's possible. But by the way, SEMrush is overly sensitive. They're notorious for being overly sensitive for saying that links are toxic. Don't pay a lot of attention to SEMrush's backlink analyses. That said, you can, if you think that there's 20 plus spammy backlinks, you can always disavow them. SEMrush makes it easy to do that, right? Like, you just click a little box next to each link and it adds it to a disavow list. You go export that text file, go to the disavow tool in Google and submit it. You can either submit individual URLs to disavow or domains. I usually just go with the domains because it's just easier that way. So you can disavow them. Also, keep in mind, I've experienced this recently. I had a domain that I got hit with an algorithmic penalty in October of last year, a tree service site of mine. And I spent literally 5 months trying to recover that site from the algorithmic penalty. And no matter what I did, I could not recover it. I pulled out every trick up my sleeve that I could possibly think of, guys, and I can't recover the site. I don't know why. I've had that fucking domain for like 8 years and it's produced very, very well. And then all of a sudden, and I wasn't doing anything spammy. I don't know why. I lost 4 Google business locations associated with that asset. And then in October of last year, it just tanked in organic ranking. And I have never been able to recover it. And I've spent countless hours on it. So finally I said, that's it. I found it. I found the same domain with a different extension. I bought that. I started moving because it was a multi-location lead gen asset business. I started moving locations to location pages. So individual location landing pages to subdomains on the new domain. So each city that I had a landing page for, I've created a city specific subdomain on the new domain and started moving those to their own WordPress installations on separate subdomains. And every one that I've moved so far has rebounded, not 100%, but like 80%-ish. So sometimes, I mean, again, I was unable to recover that domain that I wanted to. And I spent had I known I was going to spend 5 months and get no traction, I would have just started moving things a lot earlier, if that makes sense. So sometimes, again, sometimes a domain can be penalized and you don't even know it, or you know it, like in your case, and you can't recover it. Or at least I've been unable to in some cases. And so sometimes it makes sense to move the domain. Right. And what's interesting is I even redirected the location landing pages URLs from the original domain that has been penalized to the new subdomains on the new domain extension. It's the same domain, but a different extension. And you would think that if it had a penalty, it would have passed it through that redirect. It didn't. Those locations are, like I said, about 80% recovered. The ones that I have moved, there's still some on the original domain that I haven't moved. So it's just really interesting to not see, like, just changing the domain was able to mostly recover it, if that makes sense. So sometimes that is the only option, in my opinion.